Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. We are in Book 1, The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces, and this is Chapter 2, Magical Doors. Last week, if you missed it, was our premiere episode, Chapter 1, The Missing Sage. You can, of course, check out on Twitch here. The VOD will be available for several weeks yet while I get my butt in gear to get the VODs uploaded to YouTube. This is a great opportunity to show off one of our features that we have this game that is a little bit different than we've used it in other games in the past. Since Hawkmere just resubscribed for 9 months, that means that the players have earned a new domain tome. So if you look in the upper right hand corner up above Jordan, as we summon another domain tome with magic, that is, domain tomes are a way that you the audience can influence the game. For every $5 tip, 500-bit cheer, or subscription or resubscription, the players will earn domain tomes that will allow them. Now, this is where it's a little bit different. It's actually, coincidentally, scrolling along the bottom of the screen on the slides there. For 1 domain die, they can gain advantage on a roll. For 3 domain dice, they can re-roll, or they can spend 5 domain dice to make me re-roll a number. So that's where we're at with domain dice. They've got a little bit higher cost in terms of how they can use them. And we're going to be refining that as we go along. Real quick, just want to draw attention to a couple of sponsors on the bottom of the screen. You'll see the logos for Talon and Claw. Right there below Dwight where he's pointing. Talon and Claw is our channel sponsor. Anthony over at Talon and Claw and his crew over there, they make some incredible wooden dice accessories, DM screens. There's a dice Kickstarter. He's even been teasing on his Twitter that he's developing game tables as well. You can type in let's see, at MTD Claw, that has the link to the Etsy shop, and while you're there picking out all your favorite dice accessories, before you check out, use code MTD Claw to get 10% off of your order. Of course, our other channel partnership and sponsor is Run Right Play. Our good friend Keel is just an amazing human being. creating a wonderful world of collaboration and storytelling and publishing a monthly zine. And you can check out his Patreon at the link that just popped up in chat. So be sure to check that out as well. Believe it or not, that's just about it for our announcements. We've really streamlined the announcements on our games here. So I do want to say, and I'm actually promoting a new helpline as I talk about our mental health advocacy that we always talk about. Mental health is something that is very important to us here, and we want to help to destigmatize the conversations around mental health. So that's why we always, before our games, we just want to check in with you and let you know that you matter. Your presence makes a difference on this world, whether you believe it or not. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to not be okay. You've heard us say it 100 different ways and before every game, but we mean it. That's why we say it all the time. That there's a variety of things that can be going on in your life that can be causing you to be struggling right now. But you don't have to do that alone. And that's why you can come here to Mini Terrain Domain any time of day or night, whether we're streaming or not, and you can simply type in !help. And there's a different message that's actually going to show up there than has in the past. Most notably is the link at the end of that, and it will scroll along the bottom of the screen occasionally as well. The link is for findahelpline.com. It's that simple. You go there. There's a window that you can put in your information about what country you're from, and you can even drill down the provinces, states, etc. Click the Find a Helpline button, and you will be presented with multiple options for not just your traditional suicide lifelines, but whatever type of thing that you might be needing help with. They have services, their information for those services. So it's a lot more broadly available to whatever you might be going through. And we just emphasize that is there for you to use whenever you need it. Make a note of it, or if you need to, just remember that you can come here and type !help anytime. With that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. I've heard that these 5 players and myself actually are really excited about Mondays again. Mondays are fun again.
We need you guys to help make this happen. Like fetch.
Yes.
Mondays are fun again. #.
Yep. #Mondays are fun again. So, by way of recap, these 5 adventurers independently showed up to the great citadel of Candlekeep that sits alone at the end of the Lion's Way on a peninsula, and they each presented a unique work that granted them access into the Court of Air, which is sort of like the primary entry point before you get into the inner library or even get access to the Pillars of Pedagogy. Within the Court of Air, they were told and introduced to the hearth, as well as a bookbindery, a tailor, a bathhouse, a house of rest, all kinds of things that they would need as they begin their studies. While waiting for a sage to come and give them an orientation, they were waiting in the hearth, where they met the delightful ogre by the name of Little One, who was reading by the fire. They discovered that Little One had acquired in his own adventures a wonderful gold circlet that allowed him the capacity to ponder and reason much more than your average ogre. And he himself was worried that his sage friend Matreus hadn't shown up yet. And he kept nervously watching the door. And it was around that time that a young pink-hued tiefling by the name of Irony showed up and said, basically, we've got a problem. Matreus is supposed to be teaching you guys showing you the ropes. But Matreus is missing. Hasn't shown up. And Irony has asked for your help. Little one, also with big watery eyes, asks that you please help find his friend. And so that's where we are picking up, as Irony has led you all across the court of air and led you to a study room in which there we go. Turn that off. There we go. You are standing just on the edge of this, or in the doorway to this study room. So in the sort of upper left-hand corner of this room, you see that everything about this room is cozy, but elegant. There's a certain sort of elegance to it. The green rugs, green overstuffed chairs, the fire in the hearth, shelves of books in the octagonal raised dais area. There is a dedicated study desk with books and scrolls and things open. And it is in this room, this study room, that that Irony has led you to. And as the door opens and they sort of give you your first glimpses in there, they say, so one moment. And they peer in cautiously, and then they take a step into the room. It's exactly what I feared. Matreus is not here. I would have thought he would be here in this room. If maybe he just got caught up in his studies, but please come in. Matreus has been studying in this particular chamber for his last few visits to the Pillars of Pedagogy. In fact, he insisted on this room, and we try to keep it available for him whenever he visits. Of course, first you'll notice that this is one of the rooms that is usually reserved or reservable, that does not have permanent silence spells activated around it. Those are available to you if you want those for quiet study, but yeah, this is where he is supposed to be, and I don't understand why he's not here.
Teera wants to start looking around for like things that like look out of place for this cozy space, like anything that's like tipped over or anything that just looks to be in a place that it shouldn't be. Could that be like a survival check? Or
I would say start with a survival is going to be more in your outdoor environments.
Right.
You're going, because you're actively looking, this is going to be more of a investigation check, as you're just kind of looking around.
And
Two.
Vorn wants to look for trapdoors and things like that. Like, are there any loose stones or books that would open up a door into the wall or anything like that?
All right, so Vorn is going to start pulling randomly on books on the shelves and looking around on the floor for seams in the tiles, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like kind of pressure testing the floor and just pushing his hand on the wall and seeing if there are soft spots.
Okay.
Sorry, Tara, I didn't mean to overtalk what you were doing.
Nope, go. That's perfect. Go ahead and give me an investigation check as you're doing that. What are the other three of you doing as you enter this chamber?
Mizya kind of walks in the middle of the group and just probably shoulders past. Doesn't even look at the tiefling. Just sees one of the bookshelves and is just kind of, yes, this big doll bringing us here and having us work when we're supposed to be settling in, but whatever. And she'll go to the bookcase and just kind of rifling through, probably taking some books off the shelf and looking to see what they are, and just kind of going to go from shelf to shelf.
Where in the room are you going? So in the lower right.
So I think she'd go to that. If we're coming in the upper left, you said.
Yep.
Or so. What is that? The bookshelf on the
yeah,
like
there's a bookshelf immediately when you walk in the room. There's more on the southern wall. There's an alcove that has.
Go to the first one that she sees.
Okay.
So that for one on the left there.
All right, Vorn, what'd you do on your investigation check?
Rolled a 10.
Okay. You're not really finding anything. No weird pressure plates. No books out of the ordinary. No books react any particular way as you pull on them. Assyria, what are you and Soren doing?
She'll look over at Irony. And was he sitting over there at that desk, you were saying? Is that the last time you saw him?
Yes, this is usually where he is, over here, and Irony walks over towards the desk. This is where most of the studies, where he takes most of his studies. It appears, and Irony sort of kind of looks at the door, and then looks back at the books on the desk, and then looks back at the door, almost like maybe they're not supposed to be snooping, but just sort of pulls at the edge of the book and kind of flips it up just enough to see what it is that that Matreus was working on.
I understand you want to touch everything. Try not to touch it too much. Soren might be able to track by scent to see where.
Oh yes. This is it appears that Matreus was studying this particular tome, and they sort of lift the cover up a little bit so you can see that there is a leather tome with gilded edges. It's very thick and very heavy, very ornately tooled, gold filigree around the corners and everything. On the cover is a bust of what appears to be an imposing wizard. Anybody looking at this can give me a Arcana or History intelligence check.
I am not looking at this. I've probably made my way over to Vorn and am just looking at what he's looking at.
21.
21? Wow. Fantastic.
+3.
You recognize this face. You've seen it somewhere before or had it described to you well enough that you recognize that this is an illustration of the wizard Mordenkainen. The title that is on this book is The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces.
That's why they call it that.
Spectacular.
Irony sort of looks at you, Assyria. You recognize the visage of Mordenkainen, I see.
Yes, just a bit. Not much of a bookworm, but definitely knew someone that read and was aware of him.
At this point, Mizya, at hearing Mordenkainen's name, quickly makes their way over. Yes. Let me see this book.
But
I know everything there is to know about this wizard.
Okay. Well, the book is not by Mordenkainen. This particular tome was donated to Candlekeep, along with the rest of the library of a mage by the name of Vistandia. following her rather untimely disappearance, in her will, it was stated that Fisandia had bequeathed her entire collection to Candlekeep in appreciation for the many years she spent in our hallowed halls. This book, in particular, is a treatise on extradimensional spaces, similar to those created by Mordenkainen, for example. If you are such, and I don't doubt that you are the subject matter experts you say you are, you have no doubt heard of Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. It is a sort of temporary extra-dimensional space. Very powerful wizards can avail themselves of this spell. And that alone has made this book quite noteworthy. But here, if I may, and they're sort of reaching towards you, Mizya, where you've already sort of picked this book up, and flips a couple pages and points at, along the margins, you can see that in various colored inks, there are annotations that have been made. These are Fistandia's own editions. It is a peculiar arcane shorthand, and it has been studied quite a bit. There's been even rumors that Fistandia herself figured out how to create a permanent Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion spell. However, no one's ever been able to find it. But at any rate, Matreus has been studying this particular tome. It's become almost an obsession of his. And
I look at Vorn and I like lean in close when she says that. I was like, "You don't suppose he found the mansion, do you?" And Teera's kind of like joking, and like kind of like, "Ooh," like this is all hooju that she doesn't believe.
Where are we in the room right now?
you tell me.
I don't know where they were, so
I'm pointing over here at my map that you can't see. You know what's funny is I have where did it go? You know what? I know I had it. Did I remove it? I must have accidentally removed my "you are here." I had a "you are here" arrow.
Well, I think
so you're in the upper right hand corner by the desk.
Okay.
Yeah, we had moved over to the desk.
I move in, just sit right down in the chair and plop that book down in front of me, and I start just kind of perusing the pages that the tiefling has pointed out.
Doc, what are you doing? Where are you?
Doc has been paying attention to everybody who is actively searching, and he has tried to make himself as small as possible, standing in a corner, observing everyone else as they conduct their business.
Very well. So.
Wait, Vorn has to respond to Teera, and he kind of like says something in Orcish, and he goes, yeah, either that or one of those extra dimensional spaces, if you know what I mean, and kind of like.
To anybody who overhears, it's like very like like very like guttural. It sounds like Klingon, and then you just hear Teera like chuckle as soon as Vorn stops talking.
Yeah.
Does anybody else on the party speak Orcish? All right, yeah. Then you
Amazing.
you don't notice anything. Mizya, as you sit down, just sort of reach back and pull this chair, settling into the chair. You feel this is a well-worn chair, so you kind of feel like you're settling into somebody else's depressions, and You have this book in front of you, this heavy tome that you set down on the surface of the desk, and you can see all of this, all of everything that's written in here at length, discussing extra-dimensional spaces, all the way from bags of holding and portable holes, rope tricks, Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion, all of these kind of things, and at length the author goes into varieties of use and things like that. But it's in this section that's open, where there are quite a bit of notes by Festandia, who this book belonged to. While you are perusing these, I would like you to make me an intelligence arcana check. And before you do that, you hear, or while you're doing that, rather, you hear Teera and Vorn, you hear what they're saying in the corner, and they sort of chuckle, and I just imagine Mizya's eyes just sort of glancing up for a moment and then going right back to the book.
I rolled a 13 on my arcana.
Uh-oh.
I
Did we lose Cari?
Yeah,
we lost
Cari just dropped instantly. Let's see.
That beginning of hot summer when we just lose power intermittently around the country. So
right. Hopefully I gotta find my window that has the participants, so that when Cari dials back in, we can get her right back in here. In the meantime, I'm gonna do this. Do that. And you said you got a 13?
correct.
Whoops. I'm screwing everything up in an effort to try to fix this. I had my mic always defaults to being on for that, and I get a weird echo and start speech jamming myself. Okay.
Right.
So you rolled a 13. We're gonna wait and see while Cari gets things fixed. Mizya, your 13 is actually just what you needed, in fact. You recognize the notes are specifically this shorthand specifically mentions a permanent Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion, and that they had succeeded, and you find the command word written in the notes. The command word that I am going to, since you're the only one that's read it, I'm going to send it to you, just in case. So I have private messaged that to you.
Asteria is going to turn to Irony and say, you mentioned Vistania, and that they also disappeared?
Yes, Fistandia had disappeared quite a number of years ago, and just one day they were gone. Nobody really knew, but they were gone long enough that her last will and testament was executed, and all of their books were bequeathed here to the library. These are about to get weird for a moment.
Oh,
I apologize.
It's all good.
I am freaking livid. Cari would like to rage.
Carrie.
I am so sorry.
All good.
It's all good. Yeah, so there we go. I was just putting Festandia's name in the chat so you guys know what I am saying. Yeah, they disappeared quite a number of years ago, and we just don't know. No body was recovered, but for being perfectly honest, that is often. And they kind of give a sideways look over at Mizya and then kind of lean in. That is often the fate of wizards with their experimentations.
Whispering away from Mizya, correct?
Just kind of leaning towards Assyria.
Yeah. And Mizya will look directly at them, making sure that they understand that they were heard.
Start whistling
then
and looking as far away
back
from
down.
Mizya.
Irene just sort of, after saying that, just kind of looks back at Mizya, sees Mizya looking right at them, and just kind of,
She's looking away and like petting Soren. Like, what?
yes.
Oh, look at I'm loving the decoration up top.
Amazing.
Is that ivy?
Irony sort of recovers and goes over to you, Mizya, where you're looking at the book, and says, yes, you found the notes where Festandia talks about the permanent extra-dimensional space they created, and here is the command word for it. The problem was that nobody was able to locate where the mansion was. For years, they have investigated it, but to no avail. Perhaps that's what Matthias was looking for.
So, this word here, this scepter, is the...
You say the word scepter, and I'm going to say that that dock where you had sort of moved over almost next to the hearth in this space where shadow, the light of the fire created this little pocket of shadow. That's kind of where you found, or where you could kind of disappear into. And you're sort of standing there just quietly trying to get everybody's attention, or somebody's attention, raising your hand, when you all hear this sort of and a portal appears between the two chairs in front of the fireplace, sort of just like 5 feet away from you, Doc. And whether you recognize the portal or not, suddenly I imagine everyone is looking right at you, Doc, as you are standing there raising your hand.
Teera smiles and say, "Oi, Grey Boy, what did you do?"
I found a portal.
Well, good on you. I walk by and I like pat him on the shoulder, probably a little too hard. And I kind of like I want to start like peeking into the portal, jumping in with both feet.
You see magical.
Not literally. I'm not literally jumping in with both feet.
You see the swirling magical energy, and Mizya, you notice this in particular from across the room, being a little more learned in the arcane arts. But actually, anybody who's looking right at this portal notices that as soon as it appears, and it's just woo, and there's this sort of chimey sound to it, you notice that the portal is already beginning to grow dimmer. In a matter of moments, this portal is going to vanish.
So, just real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I say, "Last one in's a gelatinous cube," and I run in. Sorry.
Okay.
I see her run in, and I kind of look at the group, and I'm like, and I sprint right behind her, not to be outdone.
So when the Tiefling said that they couldn't figure out where it was, like they couldn't figure out where it was, like in its extra dimensional space, or like they couldn't figure out how to open it.
I don't know. Are you asking them?
I'm just clarifying what you said. So Miz is going to look at them and just. You're telling me the word was written right here, and no one bothered to speak it.
The word was written there in the margins of that book. The odds of that book being brought to this particular room, and then the word being spoken here, well, how are we to know that she had created her spell here in this very room?
Yes. Well, it seems we must go through. And I look down at the books in my satchel that Barnaby is still carrying around for me. He can't go with me. Will you see to it that these books are taken to my room? And then I'll get up and start walking towards the portal.
But I don't. As you're walking towards the portal, I'm gonna say Assyria probably, and maybe Doc just here. But I'm an avowed adjutant. I'm not a goddamn bellboy.
Do you know who I am? I would like to see your manager.
So Mizya is walking across the room, heading for the portal. Assyria and Doc?
Syria's gonna reach into her bag real quick. She's gonna grab a little bit of rope and just tie, like, comfortably, not like around Soren's paw, and like a little makeshift leash. So that way she's very nervous. She doesn't, like, literally, you see Doc, probably you see on her face a mixture of like fear, but also like a little bit of excitement because it's an adventure. But she's got the leash, but she'll still bend down even though Soren's massive and try and pick him up and kind of walk him into the portal. Just kind of hanging on.
He's doing that thing with the like dogs do when they don't want to get in the bath. And he's walking on his hind legs.
Did anybody pick up the book?
Oh, I still have it. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
absolutely carrying it
Okay.
with me. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Mizya
is
still
Doc
has
the
book.
last one in the room? So he's going to sort of walk to the portal. He's gonna look at it, and he's gonna say, "Does anyone know why it feels like my stomach is flipping upside down?"
Oh, he's nervous.
I would.
And he'll walk through the portal.
Oh my god.
So
Oh god.
everybody has passed through this portal, and for a moment, irony is, I would imagine Doc's the last one to go through. That Doc just sort of maybe glancing back, you just see irony standing there, and then this sort of as the portal closes.
This is fine.
Oh my god, there's no turning back.
Nope. This is fine. This is fine.
You emerge out of the portal, and you find yourself standing in the foyer of what appears to be a grand mansion. The ceiling arches overhead 15 feet, and long, elaborate hallways stretch out to your left and to your right. Standing in the middle of this area, which is crap, I forgot the dimensions. 10 feet across, I guess. In this area here, you see a middle-aged man wearing gray robes. As soon as you all appear through, he... Oh, my goodness! It works! I have been trying for so long various command words to get a portal to open back up into the library. It appears as though I was successful.
No, you needed the book.
Yes, the book is
The key.
well, that's how I was able to get... Excuse me. Allow me to introduce myself. I
Matrius?
am the sage Matrius. Well, yes, you've heard of me then.
Mattress box?
And you are?
Me?
Well, to begin with, yes, you.
I don't really have a name.
Is
Your
that
shirt says Doc on it. Is that your name?
is that your name?
Some people call me that, yes.
Well, then Doc it is. And the rest of you, why, what a eclectic group of individuals here. And who are you?
I leaned to Vorn. I'm like, what's that mean?
I think we're supposed to be introducing ourselves, but I don't think we introduced ourselves to each other yet.
Accurate.
Yes, these ragtag group of whatevers. But
Did you all
we seem
arrive
to have
together, or did you come here for different locations? If you
Well, we
don't
came
know one
through the
another,
portal. We came through the portal together, but it was really a pretty quick day. We got into Candlekeep, all of us. So hey, go team! And then we actually just gonna go sit down for a drink, and then we sat down with an ogre, and then this tiefling ran in and said, "Can you help us?" And we're like, "Yep." It was like 20 minutes tops.
Smart ogre too. Kind of knew something.
yes,
Smarter than most ogres.
you've made acquaintance with Little One, a dear friend of mine. But you've only known each other for less than half an hour, and you find yourself all here in Festandia's permanent mansion.
I don't think I spoke more than 5 words to anyone except for Teera.
Well, then let me present you with a wonderful team-building and introductory exercise. As I've said, I am Atreus. I have been studying quite a few things for a long time, but most notably Festandia's works and this permanent mansion. And, well, this place is a treasure trove of information, and there's really no telling what wonders it holds. In fact, I found this not long after being in here. I mean, excuse me, yes, young man.
It's got a good question.
Doc has a question.
Are you a student? Yes, you, Doc.
It's
muted.
strange, Doc.
You're
It
muted.
looks like you're talking, but we
muted.
can't hear you.
Young man, your mouth is
I'll
moving,
point
but I
to-
do not hear anything.
He's going to point to Teera, and he's going to say, excuse me, did you say we're a team?
Yeah, I guess we are.
I've
Sorry.
never been on a team before. Do I have any responsibilities?
Oh no.
Is-
Oh my
is there-
god.
Is there anything that I need to do? I don't want to let anyone down, and I don't know what I should do.
Well, that is the sweetest thing I've ever heard. Well, tell you what, when we need you to do something, I'll let you know. Okay? You just listen to me. That way it's one voice, and then I'll consult with the others, and we'll go from there, right?
Okay, so I shouldn't do anything unless you say so.
Sure. That'll work for now.
I look over at Teera and I'm like,
Okay.
are you sure you want that responsibility?
I turn my head to Vorn, and I'm like, I look at Vorn, and I'm like, look at how big he is. Yeah.
Right. Well, it appears as though your social dynamics are working themselves out already. Well, as I was saying, look at this. And you see he's been sort of absent-mindedly holding this figurine that he kind of wanted to show you, but then you got sidetracked, and he's just like,
Sorry. Look over here. Something shiny.
and he holds up this card figure of an imp. The details on this particular denizens of the underworld is just amazing, and I'm going to take it back to Candlekeep for study. I would very much like to stay here and continue to study the mansion. However, I feel like I will be more useful back in Candlekeep. However, because of the research that I have already conducted, I can keep the portal open from the other side. This would give you a chance to do me a favor. Explore the mansion. See what else you can find. Things of value, works of note, anything else. And if you do this, I can definitely put in a very good word with the art sages and master sages, and perhaps get you granted access into the inner areas of the library. And should we sell anything of Festandia's at a estate sale of some sort, I'm sure we could work out some sort of commission for you as well, if gold is something you're looking for.
It's something I'm looking for.
Well, it will certainly be on the table, as well as, well, extensive knowledge and lore and whatever else you might learn in here.
As Matreus is kind of talking on and on about the lore and the knowledge and the blah 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 blah, you can almost see Teera like kind of rolling her eyes, and then she's here, she's with it, like it's an adventure and it'll be fine, but like just the reverence with which he speaks about the tomes and all that stuff is kind of falling on deaf ears.
It is not falling on deaf ears for Mizya. The exact opposite of what Cari just described. If Mizya could look happy, they do right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
Very well.
Eileen, oh, sorry, go ahead. Nope.
I'm very eager to get back to the study. As I said, I will keep the portal open for you. From what I can tell, the portal actually functions through this door from this side. So, when you feel ready, come on through and we'll discuss what you found. And Matreus walks over to the set of double doors that's sort of at your backs where you kind of appeared in this foyer. And he says, well, hopefully it won't be too long before I see you. He opens up the doors, he steps through, and just before the door closes with a click, you hear, "What's in there?" Ah! And then the door closes. What are you going to do?
Oh.
Running after.
Mizya has already
Yes.
turned around and is looking for anything, just perusing.
Oh, wow.
Orn kind of looks over at the clicking door and goes, huh. Expected. Unexpectedly expected.
Assyria, you said you're going right after to see.
Yeah,
happened?
just to make sure that it was a portal thing and not just like a random, since we don't know what's in here, like something that has popped on out.
You rip open the door and immediately see that there is a swirling indigo miasma.
Okay.
It's just this sort of swirling purple void on the other side of the door, not the study at the library.
All right. And she'll shut the door back. Well,
And as you opened the door, the longer you held it open before you closed it, you started to feel really uneasy.
mm-hmm.
You started to get this something gnawing in the pit of your stomach and maybe even getting a little queasy, and you kind of, there's a nervousness that when you close the door seems to abate almost immediately.
I look over at Ashira and I'm like, what'd you see over there?
I think it's just the portal, and you see she's got her eyes shut. She's kind of leaning up against the closed door.
Is it like a purple ominous void?
Asaria, in the language of elves, will sign the middle finger to Vornuk.
Which is for us, it's just like the rock on.
Yeah, that's like
That's the middle
encouragement.
finger for them.
Rock on. I look over at Mizya, and I say to they or them, I say, that's the warp. I've heard of that. That's the space between spaces. I didn't think it was real until I saw it, but that's the warp. Who cares? Okay.
And Mizya just kind of and continues looking around. So
Mizya, since you sort of took charge to start looking first, immediately across from you is a doorway. And looking to your left and right, you see the long hallways. In either direction, you see far down at the ends, you see about 10, 20, 30, about 40 feet in either, 50 feet in either direction. At the ends is a door. And then there are, to your right, there is a stairway leading up and 2 doors on that northern wall, and then 3 doors on the northern wall to your left. So in there, one of those doors happens to be 10 feet away from you, in front of you. Where would you like to go?
the closest one is to my left, down the left-hand hallway.
The closest door is straight across from you. So
Straight across. Then I just go straight across into the first doorway that I see.
okay. So you go to you actually, as you approach this door, you see that it is slightly open. Pushing the door open a little bit more so you can see inside. The entire far wall of this room is a floor-to-ceiling bookshelf. Even more books are resting on several large scarlet armchairs and small wooden tables around the room, and there's several paintings on the wall. One of these scarlet armchairs has a large, fluffy black cat curled up in it. As you sort of peer into the room, the cat sort of sits up a little bit, yawns with its mouth wide open, and then you just hear this.
I think there's this like dry gasp as Mizya sees the books, and what probably was a skip several decades ago of quote unquote joy is just this little, it's barely a hitch in their step as they just full voice step into this room and make a beeline for the bookshelf and just start leafing through books again.
So you
as I'm sorry, real quick.
go ahead.
As Mizya does that, I want to tap Doc, and I want to say, "Oi, I got your first job. Go keep an eye on the drow."
Okay. Doc will walk over and he's going to sort of push the door open and he's going to go like this.
Oh no! Oh crap! It's like Amelia Bedelia.
Mizya, make a insight check.
Oh wow!
Around
It's
me
an
are
18.
familiar.
You feel like somebody's watching you.
Somebody's watching me.
Turn my head. What are you doing?
I'm keeping an eye on you.
Yes. Well, you are a simple one, are you not? Oh, no harm. And I'll go back to perusing the books.
All right. So Mizya and Doc are fully in the room. Mizya is already at this massive bookshelf that extends 15 feet plus 15 feet up to the ceiling.
Yes,
And-
you, doctor. And I will point like up here. That one right there. Could you get that down for me?
I could. Yes.
Would you be so kind?
He's gonna look back and he's gonna shout out, excuse me, the drow would like me to help him with a book. Should I?
Oh my god. I imagine just the door frame, and then you see Teera like lean in and be like, yeah, Duck, anything Mizya needs help with is fine. And then Tira's slowly realizing this was a mistake.
As he walks forward, he's going to grab the book that Mizya is pointing at off the shelf, but he's going to say in a very quiet voice, anything seems like a lot of things. And he will pull the book off the shelf and hand it to Mizya.
I would like Doc to roll a d10.
Oh no. If you just killed Doc, I swear to God.
We burn it all down.
Burn it all.
Quit.
2?
Yep.
We split the party.
Mizya, the book that Doc hands to you is A Year Among Owl Bears, a study of their habits and habitats by Dr. Darrigan Devil.
I've read this one. You can put it back.
What are the rest of you doing as Doc and Mizya are librarian and librarian's assistant?
Tira's walking back down the hall, pinching the bridge of her nose, and wants to go into the first room on the way back to the foyer. So the one to the right of the stairs.
I'm gonna follow Teera.
I think
and
So,
wait a minute.
so just to be clear, the foyer is the little piece that juts out at the bottom.
Oh! I apologize.
So you all
Never
came
mind.
in at the very bottom, dead center,
Yes.
and
So I
are
wanna
currently in that middle room that I'm continuing to point at, though you can't see. I swear I had a "You Are Here" graphic, and I had lost it.
Bummer.
Oh well.
I want to go to a different room. Really doesn't matter which. You can roll for it if you like.
Well, you tell me which room you're going to go to. You go
Okay,
left or
sure.
right, whatever.
I got them numbered. I want to go to the one that looks like it's got like a glow coming from it. I assigned them on a D4 FYI, and I rolled a 2. It's the second one from the left.
That sort of purpley glowy one. All right, Teera splitting the party.
Bored with Mizya's efforts.
Level one.
What could go wrong?
I follow Teera and I say, I think you're gonna need to be very specific with your instructions for Doc. You realize you said
Yeah, and-
anything for the one that seems kind of like the meanest one out of all of us. I mean,
yeah, you're right. I thought it would at least keep him busy for now. I realized I made a mistake. I can't fix it right this second.
Mizya seems to kind of have a pretense about them. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Teera and
Got a
Vorn,
nose in the air.
as you're having this conversation, Teera, you walk to this room. You open the door, and both you and Vorn see what appears to be some sort of an exercise room.
Great.
Like, if anybody was going to go to this room, and you randomly rolled it too, you see that this room contains a battered wooden mannequin. There is, on one wall, there's a weapon rack that's holding staffs and daggers and other weapons. There's an indigo tinted light streaming in through a window on the northern side. Through this window, you see that same miasma that is sort of illuminating this room. And also, over on the far end of the room, its shadow sort of elongated across the floor from the purple light. There is a broom standing upright, sweeping the floor by itself.
That's awesome. I immediately look at Teera like two children inside of a candy store, and I bolt to whatever I think she's bolting to do it first.
Yep, I bolt immediately to one of the staves, and I want to snatch it up.
Yeah, I grab one of the opposite staffs and I quickly look at the wall and I see like one of those posters of different forms and katas with the staff. Glance it over real quick as I'm looking at the staff, measuring it up against that little scroll, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm kind of yeah.
Teera's just going wham, wham, like Bam Bam from Flintstones, and then does one like little flourish and is ready to frickin' fight Vorn.
I look at Teera, like eye contact. I'm like, yeah. There's a mat, and yeah, I sprint to
Teera
it.
nods as well. It's very anime.
Yeah.
So the two of you have quarterstaffs. There's a total of 4 quarterstaffs in this room. There's 4 daggers, and there are 20 darts in a bandolier hanging from one of the pegs on the wall. And as you sort of improvised, there is in fact diagrams for fighting stances and styles for each of these weapons. So there's where you spotted the posters showing the various positions for using the staves. There are for the darts and the daggers as well. And the two of you just walked over to a mat. Are you facing off?
Is the broom sweeping in the middle of this mat? Or
No, the broom's over on the far side of the room, just sweeping at the hardwood floor.
Oh, okay.
Seems to be out of the way.
Yeah. I take the staff and I snap it across my knee to make 2 handheld weapons.
Oh my god.
2 little, and I'm ready.
I don't do that, but I'm also ready.
Okay. All right.
We can
Well,
fight
I
on the
guess
side while the party does.
I do the Morpheus, like, come and get it.
all right. The two of you roll initiative.
I'm sorry, everybody else.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm so
apologize.
sorry.
This is happening. This is D&D.
This is all good.
This is purely just
Doc
our
and
rules.
Mizya are looking at books. Assyria and Soren are standing there in the hallway still.
No, they're slowly making their way down the hall probably at this point.
So you're walking down the hall, and all of a sudden you hear this whoosh as Vorn breaks a staff over his knee. You hear the sharp snap of wood breaking. All right, Teera, what'd you get?
17.
And Vorn?
Wow, 13.
Teera, you got first strike.
As
Defense.
Assyria is
Alright.
walking down the hall and hearing this, she just looks at Sora and goes, "I knew it. I put my money on Teera," and she keeps walking.
Amazing. Okay. So I'm gonna just like fly at Vorn and try to attack him. Here I go. Okay, that is a non-natural 20 to hit.
Wow.
Vorn, you just get clocked with this quarterstaff. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Ricky.
Did you kill me?
No, I didn't kill you. Okay, I got a question about 5e. Do I add my strength to the damage, or
Of
is it
course you
just
do.
straight?
It should be on your
Okay.
character sheet. It's you add your strength modifier, but not your your proficiency bonus.
Correct. Okay, so
the
that's going to be a
damage.
9 damage.
Nice.
Before. Are you
Down-
okay?
No, I'm not okay. But that's I'm not okay at all.
Level 1. Level 1.
Vorn,
orcs
Vorn,
that
you
are-
just
oh,
got
wait,
your
I'm
bell
not-
rung.
Yeah.
Teera, you got any other moves?
I guess no. Not at level 1. I don't.
All right, Vorn.
I'm gonna kind of whack Vorn and kind of laugh.
Yeah.
Laughing's a free action.
Yeah. I am like, my bell is wrong, my room is spinning, and my goggles are like kind of at a side on my face, the way like a nerd gets his glasses knocked to the side. And I immediately realized I do not have my sparring or fighting goggles on, and that's why she got the upper hand on me.
Aha.
And I say in Orcish, like, wait. And I fumble in my pocket, and I like feebly, like as I'm like spitting blood and maybe one of my dog tooths out, I'm like, and I'm like trying to put in like my fighting glasses, like someone trying to put in big old contacts. So yeah, like
Hold
really
on,
big into the
hold on.
goggles.
Hold on. I'm almost ready.
Pause.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to give you the goggles as an object interaction.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, since you're just sparring, I'm going to give that to you. So you can go ahead and make a single attack.
Okay. Is Teera closing in distance, or is she staying far away?
She's
So after her attack, she kind of like stayed stationary. She's not entering anymore.
Okay.
you're
to,
closely engaged.
once my goggles are in clicked in, I immediately throw one of the short staffs at her, just to make her dodge or try to flick it away. And as she's doing that, I'm going to leap and try to attack with one hand.
Wow, what an attack!
Make an attack roll for the thrown one.
Okay. Would that be?
That would be strength plus proficiency bonus.
Okay.
You're a fighter, so you're proficient in pretty much everything.
23 on that.
I'm pretty sure a 23 hits Teera.
Yeah, it sure does.
So you broke your staff in two. So I'm going to say roll a d4 for damage.
Alrighty. Give me one Mississippi to get a D4 out. I'll grab one real quick.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
I did not expect that the first encounter of this campaign would be PvP.
PvP per usual.
How did you not expect that, Jake? You know who you're playing with.
All right, D4, here we go.
I'm not going to lie. I thought the two of you would probably enjoy this room when you got to it.
I threw a nat 1 there.
Okay, that's fine. What's your strength modifier?
Strength modifier is a 3.
So yeah, you do 4 points of damage to with the thrown one, and then you can offhand attack with your second one.
And actually, I'm holding the second one back. I'm going to do an unarmed attack. That's what I'm going for, to be honest with you.
Ooh, okay.
Well, you can only offhand attack with... Oh, wait, you're an unarmed fighter, aren't you?
I am an unarmed fighter.
Go for it.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Throw that punch.
Natural 9. Wait, yeah, a 9 to hit. Power 9.
Total of 9?
Yep, total of 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, the punch is gonna whiff.
Okay.
So a couple good shots landed. We're gonna see Assyria. What are you doing while these two are sparring?
So as the sparring is kind of happening, she is walking past the sparring room, and Mizya, she's gonna kind of just scope out, trying to not go too far away from the group, but still she doesn't want to be in the study right now. She does want to eventually go in there, but she doesn't trust everyone in the party just yet. So she's just kind of think of it as she's checking the vicinity to see if anything else is around.
So would you go to the left or the right from the center of the map?
Probably she would go.
Well, you would have gone left because you walked past the sparring room.
Then she would go on left.
So then there is a door. There's two doors down at the end of this hall. One at the very end that's on the westernmost wall, and one immediately to your right to another room next to the exercise room.
Let me see which room Soren would want to go in. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Go to the second room.
So the one on the northern wall next to the...
Yes.
That would be this one. You push this door open, and you see that there are tall shelves filled with books lining the walls of this room. 2 more shelves run through the middle of the room with a 10-foot wide aisle between them. Several stacks of books are piled all over the place in this room, and there are small reading desks with cozy little scarlet chairs in the corners. If Mizya found Fistandia's study, Assyria, you found Fistandia's library.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. And she'll kind of what will she do? She'll take out her journal and just kind of since it's a library, she's assuming that it's kind of have its own Dewey Decimal System or whatever. So she'll just take out, like, notch down obscure titles that she's noted and be on the lookout for anything of interest.
So, roll me a d10.
Sure. D10. 9.
One of the books you find of note is called Crafting Magic Items in Clay, a Beginner's Guide.
Oh.
You also go ahead and give me a perception check as you're
Sure.
looking through these books and just sort of taking note of the library.
I had to re-roll because it was cocked. Perception. That is going to be a 18.
You notice that as you're looking at the books, and I mean, this is a library, there's books on the shelves, there's books on tables, books piled everywhere. But on this one shelf, all of the books are in place except for one. A black leather tome is sitting sort of in front of the books on the shelf and sitting sort of at an angle, leaning against the others. And it says, or rather you see on the spine, rather than a title, is a gilded letter R.
Just kind of look at it and also untie Soren from her arm.
Okay.
Thinking
Yep.
better of this. What do you think, Soren? She'll look down at him. She probably gives him some more pocket bacon.
Of course.
Always gotta have the pocket bacon.
I imagine Soren taking the pocket bacon from you and sort of taking a step forward and just giving it a good sniff and just kind of doesn't give any kind of signs of warning or anything at this book in particular.
Well, it looks like it's getting too bad. I guess go grab Teera and the Vornuk guy. And
As if on cue, you hear what you don't know is the F word in Orcish loudly in the room right next to you.
Mizya hears it from the other.
Missy just kind of looks up. Well, not surprising.
Racist.
I love it.
Assyria's gonna quickly kind of check the area, make sure there's no like traps around this thing, because this seems like, to her, it seems very weird that this would just be sitting out specifically. And that literally could just be her just kind of doing
Yeah, just give an investigation check.
Sure. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Investigation. Okay. That is a 17. That's not bad.
You don't see any kind of traps, anything in peculiar about this. It's just a book sitting there, other than the fact that it only has a single letter R on it.
All right. She will very carefully reach forward and open the book up.
All right. So you grab the book and where is it?
Nice playing with y'all. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been super fun.
Yeah,
Great.
it's been really great.
I'm
Really
about to
great.
die in this
You're a
training room,
delight.
so.
You see as you pick it up, the book was lying on its face. So you were actually looking at the back of it. When you pick it up, you see it has the gold letter R on the spine. On the cover of the book is the same image of Mordenkainen that you recognized on The Joy of Extradimensional Spaces. As you open the book and are flipping through its pages, every one of the pages is empty. There is no written word or typeset words on it. What is your... I don't have your character sheet in front of me. What is your passive perception?
Passive 14. Level 1.
Okay. So
Level 1.
as sort of cinematically, as you're looking at this book and flipping and realizing that there's nothing written on these pages, you hear, or rather you don't, well, what you hear is Soren just suddenly sort of go, as we see behind Assyria,
Oh no.
several of the books that were laid out on some of these tables begin to rise up from the surface of the tables and start going, and they begin swirling around one another, while one particular tome with the face of a devil on it seems to hold place in the front of it. As this rises up, Soren begins to growl, and Assyria, you hear a bark, and you turn just in time to see this swarm of books rising up. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Oh no! Oh my god! I'm
What?
loving this.
All right.
I broke
amazing.
it.
Second session.
At least we're
Second
all
session.
together,
Yeah,
right?
right. Second
Right?
session. We've got a three-way party split.
I'm not an ancient drow that's at least 2 turns away.
That's why
We're
I
all
said
over
that.
muscle
That's
all 3
fine.
turns. So,
I'm not down to
your
3 hit
shadow.
points as a character.
That's fine. See, and I was betting.
Don't
it was
worry,
gonna
Mizya.
be-
Doc's got his eyes on you.
right? I'm safe.
Meanwhile, I was thinking it was gonna be Teera
Oh,
and
man.
Right.
Vornuk that were gonna cause the chaos. Nope,
Mm-mm.
me.
There you go. What did you
Oh,
touch?
man.
What did you touch?
I didn't know.
All right. Well, we will see what is going on
Oh no.
when we get back in about 10 minutes from our break.
Oh.
Please stick around. We will be back in just 10 minutes. Thank you, everybody who has tuned in so far. Just a reminder that you can influence the game by awarding the players with domain dice through a $5 tip, a 500 bit cheer, subscriptions or resubscriptions. We're currently doing a subscriber drive right now, which the counter doesn't seem to be working properly, but we're trying to reach 150 subscribers by the end of June. So if you want to be a part of that, you can do that while we take our break. We'll see you on the other side. We'll be right back. And we're back. I need you all to roll for initiative.
Oh gosh.
Everything is going to happen in initiative order from this point on.
Oh no.
Assyria, what you got?
I got, because I rolled very high, 21.
21. Mizya.
18.
Teera.
Nat 1.
Yikes.
Now,
Doc.
does this affect my initiative with Vorn? That's a good question.
This.
Don't worry, I got a handle, Jake.
Yeah, we'll see.
No.
Doc. Oh, go ahead.
Quick question. Should I roll initiative for Soren or no?
To keep it easier, I have companions go on your immediately after your action.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
And actually, what you can do based on how you do your attack, you can have them go before or after your turn. They go on your turn, we'll say.
Okay, that makes sense.
Doc.
11.
Vorn.
18.
18. And I need to roll my books. Really? Okay.
Fine, guys. It's fine.
And all right, this will start the encounter. And Assyria, you are going to go first.
All right. I would really love to pull out my longsword. And go. You just hear her look at Soren and go, crap. And she will start making an attack on the first book. Meanwhile, she's yelling like, I'm so sorry. She realizes she's destroying books. And imagining Mizya's really pissed off face, looking even more pissed off.
Amazing.
So that will be, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. 14. Actually, no, I lied. That is an 8.
And wait, an 8?
Yes.
Not a 14.
Yep, I thought it was 14. I was very wishful thinking. It was 8.
This is a good time to remind you that you have 17 domain tomes. That one domain tome can be spent to give you advantage on any dice roll.
I would
2,
like to
or
do that
excuse me,
again, please.
3 will allow you to re-roll.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna use up 3 if that's okay.
Yes, do it.
Yeah.
All right, so that knocks us down from 17 to 14. So let me juggle these a little bit. So that's going to be...
Boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, bop.
Do it this way. So what's your new number?
New number is, oh, that is so much better. That is a 17. That is much better.
All right. 17's going to hit.
Okay. That is going to be 6 damage as she's just kind of like almost think of it like baseball, just swinging at it, coming at it from the side as she's trying to knock this book out of the air.
You're using a longsword?
Yes.
So yeah, you swing your longsword through the air and you catch one of the pages of one of the books swarming around, and it slices right through the pages into the spine, and pages just explode everywhere. There's now loose leaf torn papers floating around. Some of them get picked up in the swarm, but you have managed to hit it and do some amount of damage to it. Soren?
Soren is going to go for that book as well. He's going to kind of circle around so that way we kind of have him the book pinned between the two of us, and he is going to make an attack as well. That is going to be a 16 to hit.
That's a hit.
Okay.
Wow.
And let me see one thing. There it is. That's the one I want. That is going to be 6 points of damage.
Soren leaps in and grabs hold of another book and just
Oh.
does that dog thing where he grabs it and just starts going, and pages are just flying everywhere from this book. Anything else for Soren and Assyria? Okay, Mizya. You are in the room that you're in. You hear the commotion from down the hall from Vorn and Teera sparring, and you heard the orcish cursing taking place. First, I would like you to make me a perception check.
The disadvantage, so it's gonna be a 9.
Oh. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so you are, first of all, you've been looking at these books for a little while now. With Doc sort of handing you books as you request them. You have determined, first of all, with that 9, you have no idea there's a fight taking place 2 doors down. But you know that almost every book in this study was written by somebody named Festandia. Almost every one of these books are her memoirs. You've learned that Festandia was a powerful mage, as well as a priest of Mistra.
Oh no.
She frequented Candlekeep to further her studies. In exchange for Festandia's pious service and achievements in expanding the art of magic, Mistra granted Festandia a permanent extradimensional mansion for her to reside in when studying in Candlekeep. You also learned that Festandia was afraid that guests in the mansion could become trapped within. And so she hid the command word to open the portal to Candlekeep on the spines of 7 books inside her mansion.
Oh, we found one with an R on it.
So, anything else you want to do on your turn while there's a fight raging down the hall?
I think so yeah, Mizya's just been kind of chatting with Doc. Yes, so Doctor, yes, you seem quite quiet. You do remind me of someone I used to work with back at the Library of Silvery Moon. He was somewhat simple and quiet himself. I might like you. You do all right.
You do all right.
You don't speak much, do you, Doctor? That's fine. Yes.
Do I have to wait till my turn to reply?
No, I'll let you guys
yeah,
have
sure.
I'll let you have a little bit of back and forth. There's a little bit of concurrent and whatever happening. You guys are so far removed from combat right now.
Right.
Oh no, I talk quite a bit.
Yes. Well, you seem quite nice. I quite like you. You remind me much of Togo, but well.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yes.
I assume that the person of whom I remind you is nice and good, so I will take it as a compliment.
Oh, as it was intended. Well, how about that one? Thank you, Doctor.
Doc,
I love it.
roll me a D100.
You have 100 books ready to go over there. Oh my god.
93.
Of course he does.
Great.
So there's a 25% chance of this happening. And the way I work it is on a sliding scale, and it rolls over on the 1 and the 100, which means you'd have to be within 12-ish, basically, for this thing to happen.
Hashtag man.
You rolled a 93. I rolled a 5. That's 12 away if you roll over on the 100. So you just hit this. As you reach up and grab this book, to hand to Mizya, it doesn't come out completely. It rather tilts. And the bookcase standing in front of you, or rather that you are standing in front of, suddenly goes, slides
uses
to the right.
Doc uses his reaction to make an athletics check to push Mizya out of the way.
Okay.
14.
I love him.
Yeah, you're able to successfully grab Mizya and move them out of the way of the bookshelf that they were in no danger from. And yeah, so Doc suddenly grabs you as this bookshelf slides aside, revealing on the other side that there is a passage behind it. At that,
So
go ahead.
as Doc is hugging Mizya, he's going to lean in and say, I found a door.
And that's where we're going to move to the next point in the initiative order. Vorn, you and Teera are in the midst of your fight. The first thing I would like you to do is make a perception check at disadvantage.
Hey.
A couple other things on your mind right now.
20.
Okay. While you have just successfully landed this blow and then whiffed on this punch, you hear from the room next door to you, from the open door and through the hallway, you hear the sounds of Soren's growling, and you hear the sounds of Assyria. You can't really tell it, but it sounds like she's doing something. You hear this sort of grunt and this just. In fact, I would say with a 20 on that, you would probably recognize the sound of a sword being drawn from a sheath.
Right.
Next door.
I immediately, like, as I threw that punch, I imagine that Teera kind of like slips it as like it kind of like pushes past her hair. It's a whiff to everyone else, but to her, like, she just dodged it and like on point. And I immediately stop, and my left ear kind of twitches a little bit, and I look over, and I say in Orcish to her, I say, "Sister, surely you are the sun maned. Thank you for holding your punches," as I'm trying to like catch my breath and, regain my posture. I say, "But I believe one of ours is in danger. Do you hear that?" And I look over to my weapons that I put on the corner of the room, and I dash immediately towards them to pick up my axe and my glaive as I run away from the fight we were just in.
So I would say if you're going to use a dash action on your turn, you would be able to drop these broken staff pieces, run across the room, grab your weapons, and continue down the hall and just get to the doorway of the library.
And
because you have, just to double check, you have a movement speed of 30, correct?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, if you use the dash action, that takes up your action and would allow you to make it all the way to the room on your turn.
Okay. And as I am leaving the room, and I say, "I promise we will spar again later. We'll come back to this room." But in Orcish, of course, it sounds like, shock, 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 shock. And then it's one of these like,
shock, shock.
There's a little bit of like, a little bit of slapping involved as well.
There's a lot of gesturing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, that's my turn. And I make it to the room, and I see...
Just in time, you see this swirling mass of books with this one book that has this sort of demonic face on it. As it reels up, and you see several books sort of coalesce into a tight grouping and swing down at Assyria using an attack called Book Club. I had to tell you the attack on this. I absolutely love this. What I love even more,
necrotic damage from that. I think I took necrotic damage from that.
what I love even more is that Gary just so wants to give out negative inspiration for the pun, and he can't.
Just for the record, I took psychic damage from that. Gary did. It had nothing to do with my character.
Assyria, what's your armor class?
15.
This is a 16 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So you will take 5 points of bludgeoning damage as these books swing in, and what you see, Vorn, is you see this grouping of books sort of move out, and then one book sort of stops right in front of Assyria's head, and then like dominoes, the other books just go thumping this book into her with the full force, and you get your bell rung by this book club. Teera.
Okay.
Vorn left you alone in the room. It's not your turn yet, but I said your name because you've suddenly realized that the broom is no longer sweeping the floor. It has flown across the room and is going to make 2 attacks at you as it zips past you.
What?
Oh no.
All of a sudden, sort of as Vorn is looking, or you're looking where Vorn ran out of the room and you're getting ready to take action yourself, just there's this, and the broom slaps out at you for a, okay. It was a natural 1.
Oh,
so
Loser.
so the way natural
You suck,
ones work is that it misses so badly, it comes in so close that whiffs its attack. You get an opportunity attack on the broom as it slides past.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
It still has another
question.
attack, but you right now you get an opportunity attack.
Can I draw my sword and attack, or is that 2 separate things?
Technically, you can. You have the staff in your hand. If you drop the staff, you can still draw your weapon as part of the use action. Or
Okay,
part of the
then
attack action.
I would like to draw my weapon and attack the broom. Okay, here I go.
The quarterstaff clatters to the ground as the sword is drawn.
That's only an 11 to hit the broom.
The broom sort of fumbles, and the way it falls, you swing your... What are you attacking with? Greatsword?
My greatsword.
Your
Yes.
greatsword comes down parallel to the broom, and maybe I just imagine there's this shing, and like one bristle of the broom just goes
Yes.
as it flips around on its axis, swinging around to hit you one more time. I thought that was a critical fail again. What's your armor class?
15.
This time as it swings around, you've already got the greatsword in place, and you hear this clang as it strikes the sword, missing you with a 12.
Awesome.
Doc,
Awesome.
in the study, the door has opened up. You have just declared that you have found a door. I would like you to make me a perception check.
Okay. I got a 1.
So there's a door open in front of you. You've got Mizya held close, having protected them from what's going on. You also do not hear the commotion happening just next door.
So Doc is going to reach into his leather satchel. He's going to pull out a very small pane of glass. Around the bottom of the glass, he's going to twist a copper wire, and he's going to snap his flint and steel so it flashes in a very quick illumination of light. He's then going to touch himself, and he's going to walk into the door as he investigates with the guidance spell active.
Okay.
When the light, when you turn the light on, Mizya was just right.
Oh.
Oh God, mother trucker. Okay. I would like to re-roll that.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's going to cost you 3 domain tomes to do so.
I know Hawkmere said I
Do
couldn't
it.
use a bunch of them, but I'm sure I'm eligible for at least 3.
For 3.
Okay, so I mean, I increased my total by 50%, but it's still only a 3.
Oh.
So I got a 13 total.
It's brutal.
Okay.
Brutal, man.
So you do have this light that's helping to illuminate the way and is helping you very much. As you see a set of stairs that descend down what looks to be about 15 feet into a cellar region, you can see at the bottom of the stairs there is a door, and then there is a hallway that branches off to the right.
There's a hallway and a door. And then he's going to pull out a torch that is unlit. And he's going to say, I can't see in the dark. And that's the end of my turn.
All right.
That's
So
brutal.
it is now Teera's turn. Teera is currently engaged with the broom. You know, this
Can
this
I
kind of a
call-
split usually happens at much higher levels,
yeah.
not in the first combat encounter.
Oh,
Well, I
I'm
mean-
so sorry for abandoning you with this broom. I hope you survive.
I think
I
we're all
call
used
for-
to higher levels.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Can I, as a free action, yell for Doc?
You can yell for anybody you want. Speaking is a free action.
I scream. I'm like, "Oi, Doc! Get your ass in here! I need a hand!" And then I attack the broom.
Hold on. Vorn hears that from the back, and he kind of feels like a little bit like less like, oh, Doc, okay.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Carry on. It's fine.
Voren's on a mission. Voren's on a
Carry
mission.
on.
I know this. I'm not
Follow
going to
your
ask for
instinct.
help
And
when
I would
the
say with
itty-bitty elf needs help.
I would say with Teera yelling that everybody hears Teera yelling out. I don't know what Assyria thinks when Teera yells out from another room, "Hey, I need your help," as Assyria is swarmed by books, but there we are.
Yeah.
Teera, you attack the broom.
I attack the broom. Here I go. God bless America. Nope, 7.
No.
This broom is, I mean, this thing is, there's a good chance this broom is actually one of the brooms from Fantasia.
Fantasia.
Yes.
Cool.
It's just zigging and zagging, and you're swinging at it and just whiffing as this broom waits until you're already committed to the movement of the blade, and then just
And then,
zoop, zips over,
okay.
and you miss it.
And I assume I only do I get 1 standard action per turn? Is that the way it goes?
At first level, yes.
Yeah, so I'm
Level
done.
1.
Level 1. Level 1.
Level 1. Level 1.
Anything else?
No.
No bonus actions? Okay. Back to the
I
top
don't
of the
have-
order.
I lied.
What?
Good luck to rage.
All right.
Hey.
I would say, yeah, that
Bonus
makes you
action.
that's pissing Teera off that you're whiffing against
Yeah.
this broom.
A broom.
What does it look like when Teera goes into a rage?
So I imagine Teera like takes another slice and just totally whiffs on this broom, and then like turns, like it's almost happens in slow motion. She turns over her shoulder and just looks at it and just like turns entirely to it and just screams, and is also saying many F words in Orcish.
All right. Assyria.
Yeah.
You just got your bell rung by a stack of books.
Oh.
It is your turn.
All right, and probably just heard Teera yell.
Yep, you've heard Teera yell for Doc, and then you just heard this primal yell from Teera.
Oh
Yes.
crap! All right, we gotta finish up here. Soren, she's kind of looking around, trying to get her head back on and back in the zone. Okay. How many books are there in this? I'm terrified to ask. How
In
many
the swarm-
books are flying around?
It's hard to tell. I mean, it is enough books to justify calling it a swarm. We'll say that.
Okay.
Because you've got all
cool.
these loose papers flying around, and I mean, you and Soren have knocked a couple books out of the swarm, but it still seems to be pretty volatile.
Okay. Can I still spot the one with the R on it?
That's not a part of the swarm.
That's not part of the swarm, is it?
No, you had picked it up. It was over on the other side of the room.
Okay.
The swarm rose up behind you when you were thumbing through the book,
Okay,
which presumably, because you didn't say otherwise, is in your other hand.
Yes. I wasn't sure if maybe it had flown
Nope.
like out of my hand or not. So
No,
that's why I
you.
wanted to get the specification.
Yes, the book with the letter R on it is separate.
Okay. Then if that's the case, she's gonna look at Sora and be like, "We gotta go," and she's going to book it out of the room.
Book it. She's gonna book it.
Book humor. Ha.
Perfect. That's perfect.
And if she can get to the door,
Well,
doorway, are there two doors?
Doing
or
so
no?
will draw an opportunity attack against either you or Soren.
I will take the hit because I don't want Soren to get hit.
All right. So that is going to be a dirty 20 to hit you.
No, that doesn't hit at all.
As you turn to leave, you get clobbered again by another set of books for another 5 points.
Okay, I'm up. Barely,
Oh, God.
but I am up.
Oh my god.
I'm
Oh my god.
hurting.
Are
but
you
I'm
guys
up.
adjusting your hit points in D&D Beyond?
Yes.
Okay. I see Assyria's, but I don't see anybody
Sorry,
else's.
I did not. My bad. My
I
bad.
did not either.
It just helps for the viewers looking at the D&D Beyond overlay, and it helps me because I can look at your hit points quickly.
Yeah. I'm up. I'm hurting, but
All
I'm
right,
up.
so you get clobbered and you're heading out of the room.
Yep, I'm whistling for Soren to follow me at this point, basically at a heel.
You find
I-
Vorn standing at the door.
Talk
like
later.
Like he
not
just
now!
got there. So you have enough movement from where you were to get well into that hallway. It's only going to take you 15 feet to get out of the room into the hallway.
All right. Sarah's just gonna literally look at Vornuk and be like, "Talk later. Run now."
Oh my
Just
God.
trying to usher him like forward, like go. And that's gonna be it for her. She's got the sword at the ready in case any of them like start
All right.
checking themselves out.
Anything from Soren?
Soren's just following at this
Okay.
point. I think at this point, like barking up a storm, trying to alert everybody at this point that hey,
All right.
we got trouble.
Mizya, you have by now heard Teera yelling and Primal Screen. You just heard in the hallway Assyria yelling, "Run now, talk later." You hear Soren barking.
So I look down this hallway, just like longingly down this hallway, and just Doctor,
Yes.
against my better judgment, we should probably go check on the others. And I will turn and head back out the door, and just kind of take a right-hand turn and head back, down the hallway until I see. And I'm just gonna like kind of just audibly wait to see what's gonna happen. So I'll basically hold my action.
So you can get 15 feet, or excuse me, 20 feet will get you out into the hallway.
Mhm.
Another 10 feet will get you not quite to the door to the exercise room,
Mhm.
where you can hear a commotion from there. You see Vorn and Teera at the far end of the hall. Teera looking with Soren like they're running from something. Tira's already, or
Assyria.
not Teera, Assyria. Dang it. D&D Dad strikes again. Assyria
You're embarrassing me.
already has a little bit of welts on the side of her face, and that's what you see as you're standing in the hallway.
Okay. And like I said,
Vorn.
I'll just hold my action
Okay.
unless I see something. So
Vorn.
Vorn quickly opens up his sack and he grabs a torch and strikes it and he lights it. and he puts it near the nearest stack of books that's close to him in the room, and he yells at the swirling books, and he goes, "Stop!" as he begins to light a stack of books on fire with his torch.
Ooh.
And I'm going to roll intimidation and see how we do.
Nice, bro.
18. No, wait, no, 13. Jeez, 13.
The swarm of books swirls. You see this demonic faced book sort of shift its position in the swarm, kind of lowering down a little bit, and you see it sort of glancing around in as so much as a book can glance around. It's just sort of shifting back and forth, and in response it seems to just, you see some of the books shift, and you see all of these torn pages just sort of picking up off the floor, and it drawing them into its form. It either doesn't understand your threat or is unaffected by it.
Oh,
Oh wow.
Can Vorn like walk out of the hallway and close the door?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what Vorn does.
Hold the door.
As he lights like a stack of book on fires, and realizing that this thing does not realize what he's threatening. Can I hear what's going on in the fighting room still with the
Wait,
broom?
are you actually setting fire to some books?
Yeah, I set fire to a stack of books. I put the
Okay.
torch down and I yelled "stop" when I did it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna step out of the room and close the door for now with the torch in my hand. And
So just
I
so
look-
I know, the
Yeah.
books you set on fire were in the room, correct?
correct. I look over at Mizya, and I can see the disappointment already.
Oh, it's not disappointment.
All right, I can't tell their emotions from here.
I would say from where you are, Mizya, at this point, you don't know that that's a library. Because Vorn reached in, I'm looking at the angles of this room, you wouldn't be able to see that. So, at least for the moment, your ignorance is your salvation, or Vorn's. So, Vorn, you have set fire to the books and closed the door.
Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna throw the torch in there and close the door and look over at Mizya.
Oh my god. Oh my
Okay.
God. Oh no.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna look like I didn't do anything.
What?
Okay, so I need to check something real quick. What to do when the player set the library on fire?
Full stop. Campaign's over. It was fun, team.
Yes, sorry guys, we got no
Yeah,
knowledge.
You know how when you're playing Skyrim and you accidentally kill the quest-giving NPC?
Yes. Done. Oh,
I did
No,
that.
fortunately, Assyria still has a book with the letter R on it in her hand. So
Yes,
at
it
least from that
matters.
point of view, you've got that. No, I just had to
Thanks,
check.
Ogma for that.
I just have to check
Thank God,
the.
indeed. Who do I worship?
This is what I was looking for.
Or Palor, whichever.
I'm a blunderbuss when it comes to this type of stuff. I'm sorry. It's
Okay,
blow it all
so-
out.
Apparently.
So, yeah, at this point, I would say you hear something. You hear the sound of something hitting the door.
Mhm.
Does
Does it sound
you-
angry? Is it pounding? Is it upset?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely pounding.
Won't be the first time.
The doors in this place open inward, so I don't think it's going to make a difference. In fact, I'm going to have the door make a strength check.
Okay,
The
against
door,
me.
not the door, the books. The books. Sorry, are you holding the door closed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
I'm gonna pull it. I'm holding it, and if I feel tension on it, I'm gonna pull both hands on it.
Yes.
All right. Well, so
What do you do with the torch?
I threw it in there. And
Oh, you threw the torch in there. Okay.
after I set a pile of books. I
yeah, you
threw it
just
in
hear
there.
this. You just hear this as the swarm of books is slamming into the other side of the door, shaking it a little bit. But that's all that you hear. Teera.
Okay.
Well, that's that.
Is this my turn or is this
No,
the broom's turn?
the broom takes a whiff at you with a 6. It's absolutely going to miss. On its second attack, however, that's a natural 19 for a 22 to hit.
Yeah,
The broom sort of whiffs past, and as you dodge out of the way, the other end of the broom is what gets you, and you will take 3 points of bludgeoning damage, halved to 1 because you're raging, or to 2. Sorry, to 2. I always round up on damage, so that is halved.
Great, thanks.
Actually, Ricky, roll me a D. I'm gonna say a D10.
10? Gotcha.
Yep.
Let's go. I'm rolling it and looks like it's not working, so I'm going to use old school. And I have one. Here we go. Oh, jeez. Throw this die away. 44. Power 4.
44.
Dang, that's a
it's a
great
4.
roll on a D10.
Okay.
Well, it's a percentile die.
Well,
Yeah.
I like how you get upset about it, but you don't even know what the die roll is for.
It can't be good. 4 is
Four
never
is
okay.
anybody's number.
Yeah.
Doc. Mizya has just ran out into the hallway. It's your turn.
Okay, Doc will exit the room. What does he see?
You see everybody but Teera in the hallway, and you hear sounds of fighting down in the other end. And at this point, I would say that all of you can see the smoke coming from under the door on the far end where Vorn is holding it, and you can smell burning paper.
Oh, yes, that's right. Doc did hear Teera call for help. So
Yeah, you did.
he's going to, can he reach the
5, 10, 15. It's going to take you 25 feet of movement just to get in the hallway because you were in that secret hallway.
Okay.
So it'll take you 25 feet of movement just to get into the hallway.
Okay.
It's 5, 10, 15. Another 15, 20 feet of movement will get you into the room that Teera is in. I don't know what your speed is.
It's 30. Okay.
So-
He will.
Because I know it matters for Doc. What Teera said exactly was, "Get your ass in here. I need some help. I need a hand." If that matters. No.
Okay, he'll action dash and enter the room.
So that will 60 feet of movement will get you running past Mizya. I just imagine it's just everything you would think from this giant person running through this hall. Just this sudden, doosh, 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 doosh.
There's like a wind cloud. Mizya's cloak goes whoosh.
Right, it's very anime.
And Mizya's just.
It gets a
pinching
little
the bridge of her
Scooby-Doo when
nose.
you get outside of Tira's
Pinching her
room.
nose.
You get outside of the room Tira's in, and there's that on one foot as you skitter
Yeah.
around. But you're actually able to get all the way into the room, and you would be able to get another. So I said that was 25 plus another 20 is 45. You'd be able to get all the way up to Teera in the broom.
Okay.
But you
So
Go ahead.
I will go so that I'm adjacent to Teera and I'm leaning on her, and then I will put my hand on the top of her head.
Damn it! Damn
This
it,
is
Gary!
this is me helping.
Well, Teera, it's your turn. You're raging, you're fighting a broom, and Doc has given you a hand on your head.
Doc feels Tira's head is hot, physically hot. And I want to just I want to attack the broom again and be like, "Not today, broom." And I want to attack it. Please. Here I go. Come on. Hey, okay, that's a non-natural 20 to hit the broom.
That'll hit the broom.
Amazing. Great. So I got 4 and 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 2 on melee damage is 12 points of damage on this damn broom.
12?
12, sir.
You slice down the handle of this broom, carving a big chunk. Splinters go flying. You cut into the straw that's gathered around the bottom, and a big chunk of that vanishes. You've done a significant amount of damage to this broom.
And I quickly turn to Doc and I'm like, this is you helping. And I nod at him.
I love that the
He's lucky.
barbarian's first real fight is with a broom.
Yeah. My first real fight was with my teammate. Thank you very much. And
That
then
was
the broom.
sparring. That wasn't a real fight.
Okay.
It felt like a real fight for me. It's like 9
Right,
points of damage.
right.
Yeah, tell Vorn's nose bridge that.
Right.
Yeah, my nose is like to the side. It's all broken. I'll have to fix that later. Jeez.
All right, Assyria.
All right. She's just hobbling down the hall with what little energy she has, trying to get as far away from the room and the hallway as possible. So she's just dashing at this point, trying to get away.
Okay.
Because she's got 1 hit point. So she gotta move.
So how far then are you gonna go?
I can move 30 feet. If I'm dashing, that'd be 60 feet. Although, I don't know. I know we were talking about playing into the physical stuff. She's probably limping, so she's probably not moving as quickly as
You're
she
still
probably...
you're able to. You and Soren just again Mizya standing there, the robes as this time Soren and Assyria go rushing past. You could get all the way down just past where that stairway is.
Perfect.
To the right of the study, to get away from all of the action.
I'd like to think that Mizya is like one of those doors in Elf when Buddy's like running around in the door, constantly moving. But yes, that's where she's gonna go, and she's just readying herself, but she is hurting big time.
All right, Mizya.
I think, Mizya was just like this way, and then just really out of sorts, but continues on around the corner and pokes their head in the door and sees Teera fighting this broom. For purposes of I have a rules question here. So for purpose of targeting, is a construct considered a creature?
Yes.
Targeting?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, Mizya's just really confused, not really sure what's going on, but looks up and sees what looks to be a fight with a broom. So I will just kind of raise my hand, and you hear this this kind of like very holy bell ring, kind of like bounce off the walls of the room as I cast Toll the Dead. And has the broom taken any damage?
It has.
It has to make a D12. I'm sorry, a DC 12 Wisdom save.
0.
What's this? I was gonna say, is this broom wise?
It has a -3, and I rolled a 3.
Right?
So that'll be.
Nice.
Oh wait, hold on. This might make a difference because nope. Never mind. I thought I had the books up. You're good. It failed. D12.
All right, it's going to take that is 9 points of necrotic damage.
Suck it,
Mizya,
broom.
Mizya, what does it look like when your Tolling the Dead destroys this broom?
I think you see these wrinkly old fingers kind of just point. They're kind of shaky. This is the first time Mizya has seen anything even resembling conflict in front of them in many, many, many years. And it took me a minute to remember how to cast this spell, but again, my hand's just kind of shaking as I point, and you hear this bell ring, and this broom just kind of like stops its movement, and it just it's got that like kind of a light brown color, which turns to black, and then it turns kind of like an ashy color, and it just kind of dissipates into ash as it just basically rots from the inside out.
All right.
Wow.
Well, we've gotten ourselves into some trouble, I see.
I turn and Teera is still like like, and I stop raging as it slowly dawns on me that combat has stopped. For
Combat is
the time
not done
being.
yet.
You're welcome.
I know it's not done, but combat in front of
Yeah.
me is
Yes,
done. And I don't
yes.
know anything else that's happening. So
And
probably stupidly, I stop my rage and I look over at Mizya and I just nod.
Vorn, you're standing
I-
next to this door. You're holding it, and you're starting to feel the heat of the fire that you started on the other side. And you heard this sort of these books slamming into the door. And now you hear this. And you actually see at your feet as some of this smoke gets sucked back in under the door, and you feel the heat dissipating from the door that you're holding. What would you like to do?
I
Don't-
release the door handle. I flip out my specs and put in my I have these like pitch black death specs that are like ready to die specs in, and I slide those in, and it's like, okay, today is a good day to die. And I pull out my great axe and I ready my axe as I step 2 paces from the door, and I yell it in Orcish, and I yell it out loud, may my death be with, and I yell the Orcish god out loud as I grab my axe and prepare for whatever's coming on the other side of the door.
Grumsh is the Orcish god.
Grumsh. Right?
The door, nothing happens with the door.
Okay. I'm going to hold my action, and I'm just going to hold with my great axe, waiting with my pitch black glasses on now, because they are my dying glasses.
Oh,
All
God.
right. Broom's dead. Doc.
Does Teera look wounded?
Oh yeah, she sure does.
Okay, so he's good.
well. So you said half damage means we drew blood. Yes, is that
No,
or
half
just
damage, meaning if that's in reference to if you took half damage, which actually would technically be Vorn, but you guys were sparring. If you take more than half of your hit points in damage, that is considered a brutal wound, or a stunt. I forget what it's called. It's not very good. But for you, because you're raging, I said half because you only take half damage when you're raising from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage.
okay? Teera. Sorry, I played Teera on a thing last night. I apologize. Different character. Teera is she's bleeding. She's got a split in her eyebrow where it's been already split before, so it's easier to split again. It's gross.
Okay, so she looks sort of grievously wounded.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ish.
so Doc is going to open his satchel. He's going to pull something out. It looks like some moss. He's going to put it in his mouth. I'm going to chew on it, and then he's going to put it in his hand. He's going to reach in. He's going to sprinkle some metal shavings. He's going to rub it together in his hand. He's going to spread it on Teera's face, and then he's going to kick a little bit of dirt from the ground on her, and she is going to get back 11 hit points from cure
my
wounds.
God. I am fully cured. I imagine there's just this spitwad of moss and stuff on Teera's like eye, and be like, I don't know why that helped, but I feel a lot better. Thank you, Doc. And I like pat him on the shoulder.
I'm a helper.
So, at this point, I'm gonna move more or less out of the combat initiative. Vorn, you're standing there with your axe and your death goggles in, and you're just standing there waiting, gripping this axe, and nothing's happening.
Oh wow.
No more smoke is coming out from under the door. Nothing is slamming against it. You don't really hear anything on the other side.
I immediately yell out to the group, starting with like Teera, Assyria, yelling out.
This is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Well, this is fair because you guys have just met.
Yep.
Yes, it is
Yep.
perfect.
Jeez, and okay,
I rush
Doc.
out to Vorn when I hear my name.
like then I yell at Doc, and then Mizya. I kind of roll my eyes like Mizya. Jeez. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll exit because it was my turn. So I'll leave and I'll go over to where Vorn is sort of calling.
And I'm kind of like, if you remember the original Ghostbusters, just kind of standing there, like in awe, kind of shocked, kind of scared, holding the axe, ready for whatever's about to come through that door. And I'm just
Oh my
like,
God.
you know, and I kind of point the hilt of the blade of the axe to the door, and I'm like, I'm not sure if it's gone yet, but with the feeling of that something is still in there.
Nice.
So anybody at this point that wants to come into the hallway can come into the hallway, and you see Vorn standing there, clearly upset at this door. Doc and Teera are two of the first ones to head out,
Mm-hmm.
and Vorn's just standing there, pointing with his axe at the door.
I say in Orcish, I ask him, I say, what happened? What did you see? What's on the other side of the door?
The
Kind of
books,
in low tones.
yeah, books I set on fire. I think fire's gone. Demon books, and I kind of look over at Assyria and Soren for help to explain because she was there first. Like,
As you look to Assyria, you notice that Mizya is all of a sudden right there.
Oh
You
my God.
you
I
did
imagine
what?
it's-
I
Oh my
protected
God.
the team. Okay, I don't need it from you. It's in there.
I realize Mizya is listening and hearing us in Orcish and speaking Orcish back to us. Or at least understood enough what we said. And then Teera looks at Mizya and says, understand? And I assume, oh my God.
And I look over at like Assyria. I'm like say something, please.
I don't know what language you're speaking. I'm very confused.
Yeah, I have my death goggles on, so I don't have my speaking glasses on. I
He-
can't really figure that out. Right now.
Mizya turns to Syria. He is asking you to explain why he is trying to burn down a library.
Oh, so I was investigating in there, and she's kind of holding her side where she's still kind of looking pretty wretched, but leaning up against the wall. We were doing a bit of investigating in there while you were in the study, and you two were sparring. And I found this book, and she'll hold out the book with the R on it. And when I did that, well, let's just say the books came to life that day.
Or-
When you hold up the book with the R on it, Mizya immediately reaches out and just runs their hand down the spine over the R.
I mean, you could just take it. You don't have to do all that. But she'll kind of hand the book over to Miz.
You can't help but notice that Assyria in addition to sort of limping and having welts on the side of her face, there's like paper cuts across the backs of her hands and her.
So I will grab the book, and I look, not even like looking, but I'll be like, yes, doctor.
Oh, she said that day. Did she mean today? Has she been here?
Yes.
Have you been here before?
No. I apologize, Doc. I was making a reference to a story that my mother used to talk about when I was younger about a. Never mind. Anyways,
Okay.
She was
Okay.
speaking in prose, Duck.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Well, and I start to walk back towards the study. Sins against the books are forgiven. Follow me, please. This is quite interesting. And again, just kind of like caressing this R, and I will lead back towards the study, and I'll kind of look around for a minute, and I don't know, is anybody following me?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
we're
do.
hobbling behind.
Yes, and I find the book that I found the writing in about the library, or the books, the hidden books. I'll be like, doctor, and then I point. Would you be so kind?
Oh, sure. And he'll grab the book that Mizya is looking at. But as he does that, he's going to see sort of a chair off into the corner, and he's going to push it over, and he's going to smile at Teera, helping.
Oh. I kind of like am rotating my shoulder. Teera is healed, but she's still a little sore, and he's like, "You're doing a great job, Doc. Keep it up."
The chair you push over has this blue-eyed, fluffy black cat in it that's been sitting there the whole time. And it just sort of looks up at you as you slide this chair over. And it kind of stands up, arcs up, like thinking you're going to pet at it. And then when you don't, it just sort of curls around, lays back down, and you just hear this sort of...
Oh my god!
But its tail is sort of flicking a little bit.
If Doc interacts with this cat, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Doc is he's gonna stare at the cat for a second. He's gonna look up at everybody else. He's gonna stare down at the cat. He's gonna look at his finger, and then he's gonna sort of lean down and slowly, like, touch its head.
As you go to touch its head, the cat just sort of immediately flips over on its back, and with all 4 feet just sort of starts batting at your finger. This cat is totally acting like a little kitten. You can see when it rolls over that it is wearing a jeweled red collar, and there's a little gold name tag hanging from its collar that you can see. This cat's name is Gutweed.
So he's gonna like do this to the underside of the cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
While he is entranced by the cat, Mizya is flipping through this book. Yes. Here it is. It looks like, well, I don't think that the portal we saw before was the portal we need. This says that we need to find the activation word written in letters on 7 books scattered about the mansion. And I point to the spine with R on it. I think we have found one. You said this was in the room that he burned.
Yes.
Yeah, the room where it happened.
It's probably
The
safe
room
to
would
say this is the one from that room, so I think we're probably safe. But I think we have 6 more books to find if we want to get back.
They're not in that room it's no longer on fire, by the way, but they're not in that
I
room.
think there's plenty of mansion here for us to
I don't
find
think he
6
wants
more
to be
books.
anymore in that room where it happened anymore.
No,
No.
not in
Yes,
the room
that's
where
his-
it happened.
No.
That's fine.
Why do you keep saying the room where it happened?
I don't know. It's inexplicable, Doc. It's one of
Alright.
those things that just gets stuck in your head, you know?
Yeah.
No,
Everybody
I don't know.
wants-
That's why I asked.
Doc, everybody wants to be in a room where it happens.
Mm-hmm,
Where it
But
happens.
didn't they say they don't want to be in the room where it happens?
Well, everything important happens in the room where it happens.
mm-hmm.
I just go up and I pat Doc on the cheek. I'm like, don't worry, you pretty head. You're doing a great job. Keep helping.
Okay.
Warren's gonna run back into the training room real quick and snatch some of those diagrams and like scrolls off the wall of those fighting styles. If he can do that at any point in time.
Sure, you go in and you grab some posters and start rolling them up, and
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put these on my wall in my
there's
room.
there's still,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yep,
Like one of those Bruce Lee posters. Absolutely.
yep.
Perhaps
Water,
this-
my friend.
You can add to your inventory that you have dagger, quarterstaff, and dart style posters.
Awesome.
Just you can do it as a custom item in D&D Beyond for your inventory.
Dagger, dart, and what else?
Daggers, darts, and quarterstaff.
Quarterstaff. Thank you.
So does Asaria look very wounded?
Yes.
Okay, so Dog is going to reach into his pouch and he's going to pull out some moss. He's going to put it in his mouth. He's going to kind of chew it up and he's going to take it out. He's going to smush it onto his hand. He's going to pull out some metal shavings and he's going to sprinkle it on. He's going to go like this. He's going to rub it on Asaria's face. He's going to kind of kick a little bit of dirt from the ground up onto her, and she gets back 9 hit points.
Wow.
Pure wounds.
Wow.
Dude. MVP.
Yeah.
Early nominee.
Warren sees this and he's like, I want some spit dirt.
Um,
As he like kind of like
I'm
cranks
almost
his
all the
nose
way
back
back
into
up.
shape.
Ow.
Doc says, there.
Hold on, not literal spit dirt. I have
There,
to remember
there.
I'm talking to Doc.
There.
Oh, I go to Doc and I'm like,
Thank you.
can you help Vaughn too? I kind of did a number on him and I elbowed Doc in the ribs, even though I don't think he understands.
Help him how?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, he took a quarterstaff right to the frickin' face.
As she's saying that, like I fix my nose and it crunches as I lock it back in place. And
Okay.
it kind of like clump of blood kind of falls into the dirt. And I'm like, I'm good. She was pulling her punches. I'm cool.
And he sort of scratches his head, and he says,
It's okay if you can't do it again today.
"No, I don't think I can perform in that way again."
Oh,
Oh.
Yes.
it's all
well,
right. Thank you for
perhaps.
trying, Doc.
Maybe after I have a rest.
Yeah,
Yes,
like a
well.
nice long rest.
Perhaps this would be a good time. I could use some time to prepare some new spells. I was not set up to be fighting. I thought I was going to be in a library, not banishing brooms from existence or lighting books on fire. I turned
And
to Vorn again.
It dawns on Vorn that a broom beat up Teera more than I did. And it kind of feels a little bit. He doesn't say it, and he doesn't say it out loud. But he really like looks at those posters. He's like, I gotta study these.
I'm
Assyria.
Yes.
Assyria, you noticed that as Doc was healing you up and you're all sort of sitting in the study talking, Soren is over by the door and is halfway out in the hallway, and his ears are perked up and he's whining, and he kind of looks back over his shoulder at you, and he does that thing where dogs sort of like take a couple slaps at the floor with their front paws like they want to move forward, and he's
Yep.
looking at you, and you see that he is drooling.
Oh no. Are you hungry?
And he kind of takes a step forward and towards looking out the door to the left. He seems like he's smelling food somewhere.
Ooh.
Well, maybe we should. We haven't eaten yet, in my recollection at least, since really the tavern. Maybe there's some food around here, although if it's anything like the books, I don't know. But one thing I do know is you never get in between a wolf and its food. So
Tell me about it. Thank you, Assyria. I am very hungry.
You see, she was like kind of pointing. Sure.
Teera is oblivious.
Yep. Sure. Hang on, boy, and she'll kind of look at the group. If we're going to go, we should probably stick together. I don't think we should necessarily be splitting up as we've been doing.
I guess I don't need these death goggles anymore. I kind of like swap them out.
I mean, you never know. We could go into whatever.
Yeah, go ahead.
We could go into whatever this room is, and it could be a massive Jello monster. I don't know.
Jello. No deer or like elk or anything to eat.
Everybody go ahead and make me a perception check.
Oh no.
Yes.
Nope.
11.
17.
Jeez, power 6.
17.
9.
Teera and Mizya, you smell food. Fresh food being cooked. You're fairly certain that you can smell fish being cooked. And Mizya, you can pick up the very almost musty aroma of mushrooms. There's other odors in there, or aromas, I should say, but that you all can't quite put your finger on. But it's enough to elicit, at least in some of you, a little bit of a involuntary mouth-watering. It smells like there's a kitchen nearby and somebody's cooking something.
God. Okay. I'm gonna make a personal wisdom check. No, I am gonna be like, sounds like smells like somebody's cooking, and I just like leave the room and I start walking towards the thing.
Well, that okay.
I failed my own personal wisdom check.
Asteria will quickly follow with sword in tow just to make sure everything's okay.
And Vorn says cooking, and he kind of fumbles in his pouch and he flops out the black goggles and he puts in these other goggles and he's like, cooking, time to eat, eating glasses. Let's go.
I love it. I love
Does
it.
everybody
So,
follow?
Dasha, do you do you eat?
No.
Well, accompany me anyways, if you would.
Hmm? Sorry, what did you say?
Would you like to accompany me anyways?
No, I'll just wait here for Teera to tell me what to do.
Oh, crap.
Oh dear God.
And Tira's already out the door.
God dang it.
Uh,
Somebody else notice and alert Teera to the fact that she left our good
I'll
buddy.
roll a wisdom check on it, if that's okay.
I would imagine
You're-
this happens in a few seconds.
Yeah.
I can yell out.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
close
Teera,
enough, Teera. You're
um,
close enough, Teera. You would hear as well
Yeah.
as
Okay.
Mizya's calling your attention.
I stop and I go back to Doc and I kind of like, I like brush him off and I like put my hands on his shoulders and I'm like, Doc, I can give you a good idea what to do, but you can make decisions for yourself. And I like put my hand on his chest and I'm like,
And-
you can do what you want to do and what you think is right in every situation. You got a brain up there.
As she
I
says that,
think.
I walk past her and I go, have fun with that, with my goggles on to eat.
Shut up, Vaughn. And I
Oh.
pat him on the chest. I'm like, you can think for yourself, you know?
If you say so.
Well, I do.
Okay.
And then I kind of like smile and I pat him once more on the shoulder and then I go to wherever I smell fish cooking.
yummy food.
Fish fry.
And then he's gonna look around, and he's like, "Oh, now I'm by myself."
He doesn't. God dang. No.
Oh my.
So make a decision. Maybe
All
he's
right.
fine being by himself. He's fine.
I think with the shifting of everybody moving around, I think Assyria and Soren are going to be the first ones to the door.
Correct. Correct.
The kitchen door is slightly ajar, and the odors, the aromas are super strong. You don't even have a chance to push open the door, Assyria. Soren is already nosing in. The door gets pushed open, and you feel the comfortable warmth of the kitchen. There's steam and even stronger sense of these smells. You see that there is a large iron stove that takes up one wall, and the rest of the room is filled with large tables and racks. There's hanging pots and pans, cooking utensils. Everything is sparkling clean. As the doors open, you see that there are these two curious-looking gray, very small, almost bat-like creatures, but they have like a vaguely humanoid shape to them. They have two arms and they have two legs, and they've got this little face with these little bat-like ears sticking up, and they have these wings off their backs. And the two of them, as soon as the door sort of, they turn around and they flutter over and land on the table nearby, and they bow deeply before you. And you hear each of them begin to say, "How can we be of help to our honored guests? Cooking, cleaning, mending your clothes, perhaps? Do come in. You look like you could use a meal. We've prepared a wonderful meal for you. Please, let us be at your service. I am cumin, and I am coriander." And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Oh my
Okay,
god!
So my takeaway from these two is that we picked every crappy room
Yep.
and not the fun will help you in any way room.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
So that was our second.
So much.
That was our second session.
Wow, that went off the rails.
Chapter 2. There's no rails here. You guys go where you're gonna go. This is all we're all making this adventure together. You do what you do. You want to burn the library down to spite Mizya? Go for it.
Wow. Wow.
We will be returning next Monday with Chapter 3, The Gilded Letters.
Hashtag Mondays are fun again.
Yep, hashtag
Mondays
Mondays
are
are fun again. I just want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. Anybody, all of the new follows we got. I know there was at least a couple subscriptions in there, at least one. So thank you to everybody. And if you're just lurking silently in the background, we appreciate you. I hope you enjoy the show. And we're just having so much fun with this. And we're glad that you are joining us now on Monday evenings as we begin to weave the tales of Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep mysteries. I also, of course, want to say a huge thank you to... I'm trying to see which order I want to look at here in the overlay. A huge thank you to Gary, Dwight, Cari, Ricky, and Jordan, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for 2.5 hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want. Metadad.
Metadad.